Good morning, Stella. You are a board certified health and wellness coach focusing on weight loss without dieting, which I love that. Oh, I love food. Tell us more about your journey to becoming a health and wellness coach, as I believe it's come from a place of personal struggle with diet.
Yes, indeed. Good morning, and thank you for having me. I really learned nutrition the hard way, I would say. Um, for about 9 years before I decided to become a coach, I was working for the cooking website allrecipes.com. You might know it.
Ooh, yes.
And one of my duties was to help answer users' questions, right? Help them figure out how they could adjust the recipes that they found on the website to their own needs. And as I was doing that, I realized the distress that so many people were facing as they were trying to kind of reconcile healthy food and food that they would enjoy, but also that their family would enjoy. And I could see like the stress and actually the suffering that it was creating
Yes.
in their lives. And that kind of broke my heart because it took me back years back when I was much younger and I was myself struggling with food and with my weight. And I was, for many years, I was in a constant battle, trying to break out of yo-yo dieting and emotional eating. And, to fix the problem for myself, what I was doing is what a lot of people do actually nowadays is I was starving myself all day and then I would just binge eat at night pretty much, right? Sneaking food, being completely obsessed about the next meal and feeling very ashamed of myself. I was hopeless. And so when I realized while I was working at allrecipes.com that my own experience could actually help others with their battle with food, right? That's when I decided to become a health coach because I had created, after years, right? I had created a lifestyle for myself that gave me back health and most importantly, that gave me back my self-respect. And it took years to create a sustainable system, but I did it for myself and I wanted to help others do it as well. So that's when I made my decision. I'm going to be a health coach. And that's when I got certified by the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaching.
So pretty much you are taking your education, your experience, and you put them together to help women, well, to help people in general.
So yeah, people in general, right? I created my practice Allon-Z Coaching in 2017, and my goal was and still is actually to help people in general. But I end up working more with women than with men. But people in general who have struggled with their eating habits for many, many years. And they're actually looking for what you were saying earlier, right? A non-diet way of finally establishing healthy eating behaviors that will be sustainable for the long term and really promote health and well-being and happiness and energy. So I coach clients from all over the world who are just tired of struggling with weight issues and with blood sugar control and with dieting and they're finally ready to enjoy guilt-free eating. That's really key. So my work is around weight loss and weight management, but also diabetes prevention. And I especially love working with people who struggle with food cravings and unhealthy eating habits due to emotional eating. And that is a lot of women, actually. People who feel like they've tried everything and,
Yes.
they haven't succeeded long term. And they're kind of like, they feel, well, there's nothing out there that I can do to be successful. that's pretty much where I want to, grab them and give them that hope back that they can really, really change their lifestyle with the right guidance and the right approach.
So now you started it. You are the founder and also owner of Allon-Z Coaching. Am I saying that properly? Is that
Yes.
how you say it?
Yes, that's perfect. Allons-Z Coaching, and just a background, Allons-Z is the French for let's go,
Cool.
because originally
Yes.
I'm from France, I'm French.
So now, what is? I know what the company is about, but what is the services that the company offers?
So really, so most of my work, right, is around, weight management, diabetes prevention, and I offer coaching mostly to individuals. So I do one-on-one coaching mostly over Zoom. So it's not in person anymore. I used to have my practice, like, in-person practice, but with COVID, I actually gave that up. And I realized that it's easier for everyone, clients included, to just do things remotely. So my number one service is one-on-one coaching for people, who are in the US, in Australia, in Finland, I mean, anywhere really in the world. And I also offer some corporate wellness coaching. And I also teach classes in the community, like for the Seattle Public Library or for, the community colleges. But my main focus is really one-on-one coaching with adults. I don't coach kids, and I work sometimes with teenagers, but in very, very close relationship with their parents. So my main audience is actually adults.
Adults.
Yeah, and most of my clients are women. I work with men too, but most of my clients are actually women over their 40s. Um, like once they've really tried everything already,
Dang.
and they're like, what else can I do? Right. And that's where I come in.
It's the time that I need help. I need professional help to guide me to get rid of all that bad habits. Because the way I see them, they're just bad habits that we
Mhm.
created, that we create for ourselves, and then eventually it's become too late to get rid of them, and because
Mhm.
they all we really get stuck with them. But in something that you said that grabbed my attention is craving.
Mhm.
When you talk about craving, so how can someone actually stop craving? Because that's one of the hardest things to do, especially when the food is sitting right next to you.
Yeah, yeah, this is a very, very good question, because the thing that happens really with cravings is that our first, our first reaction, our first reflex is to want to work about cravings in our heads, right? We're like, okay, I'm eating to comfort myself from tough, feelings, or I had a stressful day, and I am turning to food to kind of comfort myself, right? And the thing is, if we work in our head only, it's a lost battle. Like, we cannot fight cravings just using willpower and self-control. That does not work. I mean, it works for a little while, right? You're on a 1 month diet and you're like, yeah, I'm strong. But after a while, you just can't keep up with that anymore. And the thing is, when people are trying to not turn to food for comfort, right, to not like indulge in their cravings, they're really like they're trying to think things through, right? They're trying to be strong, and it cannot work, because the thing is that the cravings are actually rooted in very like physiological mechanisms,
Mm.
like processes, right? They're in the body. So it's in the guts, it's in the blood sugar, right? It's in the hormones. It's not just in the head, right? So the very first thing that we need to address when we're trying to fight cravings or emotional eating is really to address those body aspects
Ooh.
of the cravings. So it means, rebalancing our nutrition so that our guts are not craving for the same type of foods. It means, keeping our blood sugar stable also, so that we are not, like, our body doesn't feel threatened and then pushes us to eat and makes us crave food that are going to bring our blood sugar more level. Like all these it's very concrete. Actually, it's very much in the body. It's not just emotions like, oh, I'm tired, I'm stressed after a day at work. Let me comfort myself with food. That's one aspect of it, but the main aspect is actually in the body. And that's what I do when I work with clients, is we work on those body systems first, so that when we have to tackle the emotional part of it, it's not as hard, right? Like, it's going to be much easier to tackle your cravings if you feel like emotionally eating every other week rather than every single night when you come back home from work. So that's how that's the big difference in my approach, I think, compared to a lot of other approaches, is that we first establish a foundation so that our body is going to help us have less cravings.
And I never heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of people usually they never use that methodology behind it. Like it has something to do with our body, that we need to control our body first. Huh,
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. It's even, for if you think about mental health, you cannot really take care of your mental health if you don't take care of your body first. Like, the body, being in tune with that body is really key for any, when we're trying to reach any type of true well-being.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. I never would have think of it that way, actually. And it makes a lot of sense, because there's a lot going on with our body. Either we know it or not, there's a lot going on inside it. It just, we don't pay attention. We only see the outside. The outside need to look good. Oh, it's not looking too good. I need to lose 20 pounds here, huh? But we don't really, we need to take care of the inside so that the outside can look better and be better.
And feel better,
Better.
right? Like, so that you can
Yes.
do all those things that you want to do, which is really the point. Because what's the point of being skinny or whatever shape you want to be if you're miserable, right? Like, there's no point, right? We want to be healthy, energetic, so that we can do all those things that make us happy.
Exactly. So now your methodology combines nutrition science and physiology with the French mindset towards food and lifestyle. So how is it different from the other approaches towards this the subjects?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So besides what I just, mentioned about this, like, physiological approach to weight management and to health, there is also, more of a mindset aspect to it. And it's kind of, it's complex, but I think there's one great image that I like to mention that illustrates really the approach. I think it's Michael Pollan, the author and
Sure.
journalist, who ran a test once, and he showed the words chocolate cake to a group of Americans, and then he recorded the words that they would associate with those two words, chocolate cake, right? And for American people, guilt was the number one word, like chocolate
Wow.
cake, guilt, right? And then he ran the same test with French people, and for them, the number one word that came to mind was celebration. And I think it really sums up pretty well what I work on with my clients, right? On one hand, we establish a new way of eating for them,
Mm-hmm.
right, that will promote health and weight loss, with balanced and nutritious meals, that are pretty easy to fit into their schedule. But we also work on rewiring their relationship to food. And it's so that food does not like is not the enemy anymore. It's not like, oh, food makes me unhealthy. We want to get rid of that image. Food is actually medicine, right? So this is something that we work on with my clients, and it's a complex process, right? It takes time, but this is really one of my priorities to have my clients implement that step by step, right, at their own pace, and really by meeting them where they're at when we start working together, so that they never feels they never feel overwhelmed. This is really key if we want to make things sustainable.
I love the example you use. Huh. Guilty. It's true. We
Yeah.
eat the cake, we're like, oh, I shouldn't eat that piece of chocolate
Yeah,
cake.
right.
I
Exactly.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
But you feel bad for the entire night that you eat that piece of
Exactly.
chocolate
So
cake.
we think about the chocolate cake like for hours ahead of time. Then we have it, and then we think about it again for hours afterwards because we feel so guilty, right? This is really what we want to get away from. And when you work slowly and you establish very tangible changes at the same time in your nutrition, you get there. You get there and you're like, yes, I'm going to have that chocolate cake. It's going to be amazing. And you know what? Chocolate cake, yes, it's not healthy in it per se, right? But it makes me happy. And that's part of health as well. So we have to find that balance between pure health, pure nutrition, right? And
Yes.
happiness. Because otherwise, well, yeah, we're going to end up miserable and we're going to fall off the wagon after a month, maybe two, maybe 6 months for people who are really strong at powering
Strong.
through. So, yeah.
So now we talk a lot about diets for weight loss are plentiful in the market, but they are far from being healthy. So what damage do they cause to our system?
Yeah, they do a lot of damage, and I mean, they're the two biggest damages that they provoke or they give or they make, in my opinion, are first, fat diets slow down our metabolism. Usually they're restrictive, right? And the body is going to adjust to food restrictions. So the body is going to just end up consuming less calories, right? And storing fat in between two diets just to prepare for the next diet, because the body is like, okay, when is she or when is he going to starve me again? I'd better prepare for that. Right. So that's what happens with diets when yo-yo dieting, you go from one diet to another. And in the end, you slow down your metabolism. So you need to just maintain the same weight. You actually need to eat less and less and less and less. And then when
Oof.
aging comes on top of that, that makes it even worse because as we age, our metabolism slows down anyway. Right. So that's the number one damage, I think, is that it slows down the metabolism. The second huge damage that fat diets do is that they kill our self-esteem and they kill our hopes. And I work with so many clients, mostly women, who come to me and they're convinced that they are overweight or they have high blood sugar or high cholesterol because they're lazy or because they lack discipline. And too often that they believe that the diets they've tried, they work, but they are the problem because
Problem.
they are not able to sustain the diet. But it's not true. If a diet is not sustainable in the first place, it means it doesn't work. A diet, like it has to be sustainable for us to be able to label it as something that works. So I think those are the two biggest damage, the slower metabolism and the lack of confidence, the lack of self-esteem that comes from failing again and again and again at dieting.
Wow. So pretty much, not only that, right now we're destroying our own, pretty much our own system, our own self, because we want all these diets that's not only, yes, I'm not saying it might not work for some people in mind, but if it doesn't work for you, it's okay. Maybe you need to find one that's uniquely will work for you with your body so you can feel comfortable in your own body. But again, for me also, I ask myself, because I meet people that's big, they're not small, they're not tiny like a model, but they are super comfortable in their own skin. I mean, like they can jump on in the sky and down. It's like, how did you do that? You're like 200 pounds, but they are very comfortable in their own body. So, do
Mhm.
you feel like people like this really required to losing weight because they're already on their own skin, comfortable, happy the way they are?
Like the way I look at it, it's only a question for me. Like weight is really a second, an afterthought, right? It's all about feeling good and being healthy. So, like an aging well. So some people are going to be very healthy and have a bigger size, right? Other people, I mean, some skinny people are very unhealthy, right?
Yes.
And I'm more than happy to help them to establish those healthier eating habits, right? This is why I really focus most on weight management rather than weight loss, because some people really don't need and they don't want to lose weight. Like we don't need to be at a certain weight and have a certain body.
Yeah. So we just need to be comfortable in our own skin. So pretty much learn to manage the way you want to be instead of trying to get into diets every single day.
Yeah, I think really the way I look at it, it's really some people, depending on your weight, but also depending on your lifestyle, there's going to be health consequences, right? So for me, when I work with a client, this is one of my number one question. It's like, are you trying to just lose weight at any price? Or are you trying to be healthy? If they just want to lose weight, I don't work with them usually because this is not what I'm after. I'm about health and wellness and well-being, right? But what I like is that for a lot of people, when they start working, if they tell me, well, I really would like to have more energy. I would like to keep up with my kids. I would like to be able to go hike with my friends. And I think my weight is getting in the way. Then I want to work with them and we work on the health part. And what happens is that weight loss is a byproduct of that. It's a consequences, but it comes after once we've really started establishing that foundation I was telling you about, which is to really bring, like take care of our body and make
Yes.
sure that we're well nourished, that we have the energy that we need, that our blood sugar is stable. So this is really key. So some people will never really feel good in their body, no matter what size they're at, just because their body does not allow them to do what they want to do. And that's what I'm all about. I want your body to be here to help you be happier and do the things you want to do, right?
So that now, would you say that the alternative for a fat diet to achieve overall wellness will be um, to manage your weight and to manage your health in general?
I think that really the alternative, in my opinion, is to truly care for your body and to make efforts to provide the body with all the nutrients it actually needs and the rest it actually needs, pretty much like the love it actually needs, right? I mean, our bodies are just amazing. I mean, think about what they can do, right?
Yes.
So what I try to work on with my clients is really to help them stop abusing their bodies, right? Trying to like starve them or, okay, I'm not going to eat until it's 3 p.m. And it's abuse. In my opinion, it's abuse, or going to the gym, like overdoing it because you're trying to look better or to fit in a pair of pants, right? So this is abuse, and we need to go from abusing our body to truly taking care of our body, right? And that looks very different from one person to another because we don't have the same schedules, we don't have the same needs,
Yes.
we don't have the same preferences, right? So this is what I do with my clients. We work on figuring out what it's going to look like in their daily life to actually care for their body. And what we do at first is we spend like 2 weeks like running a very comprehensive audit of actually what their
Oh,
life looks like and what their nutrition looks like and what they actually need, what their bodies would need. And then we see, okay, how can we bridge the gap between what your body needs and what you as a person need and what you're actually providing? How can we make sure that those two match in a
I love
way that
it.
still allows you to enjoy your life? Some people want to spend an hour cooking every night, other people want to eat out all the time, so we have to find ways to make it work.
In another way, it's learning to love your body.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So now, what has been the biggest challenge for you as a nutritionist as you make people come out of their comfort zone to change habits?
I think really what's been the hardest was to understand that as a coach, my role is not so much to encourage people and push people and cheer for people. My role very often is to try and slow them down and help them really break things into small steps and rally, really guide them through those small steps, because a lot of people come and they're like, yes, I'm on it, I'm going to do this, and they actually aim way too high right away. And then
Mm-hmm.
they will just reproduce what they know, which is I aim high for some kind of a restrictive diet, for instance, and I fail, and then I stop, and I feel terrible about myself, right? So what I have to do is really to help them like pace themselves and make sure that they've implemented small changes and that those small changes are really ingrained in their new life before we move on to other changes. So it's really like my role as a coach is more to slow people down than push them forward. And it took me a little while to realize that and to be comfortable with that, because I thought, well, people want to be, you know,
Go,
push.
go,
And
go.
yeah, that's what they want. So that's what I have to provide, but it's actually not what works in the long term. So I had to finally, make a stand and say, I'm going to be here to support you, but sometimes it's in a way that you're going to be like, what? I want to go to the gym 5 times a week and you tell me to go
Yeah.
to the gym once or not even go to the gym? What's wrong with you? Right? So I think that was, I had to really gain experience and see the results to finally be more comfortable doing that with my clients and tell them, trust me, I know. I know what works. I've seen it on so many people.
It's all of this, I think it's because you care about your client first.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people will be like, okay, go to the gym 5 times a day, do this, do that, because they just care about the money. They don't really care about the well-being of the person they are working with. So you don't do the same thing because you care about the return. So for the way I seen it, it's like your client's success is your success.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, there is nothing better than seeing, like hearing a client tell me, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Like my cravings are down and I feel like I haven't done anything for it. Like there's nothing better for me than people experiencing success without really feeling that they've put so much effort into it. I'm not saying it's easy, right? Because it takes planning. It takes a lot of, we have to think things through, right? To implement new habits. But a lot of my clients tell me, I can't believe this is happening. And actually, I didn't have to resist. Like they go to a party and they tell me, I didn't even want the chips. It's weird. And they're like, what's going on? And I'm like, yes, and it just fills my heart with happiness to experience that, to witness that. again and again and again.
Yes. So now women suffer the most when it comes to leading a healthy lifestyle. And that's because we have many roles. We handle a lot of things. So what advice would you give them to lead better and healthy lives?
Yeah, and it's true, right? It's women really struggle with that, and the reason why is that again, it's about caring for ourselves, and I think a lot of women are not used to caring for themselves because they
Yes.
care for everybody else, like their parents, their spouses, partners, their children, their coworkers. So I think that the number one thing to do is to start putting yourself first, and this is hard to do, right? And it can feel selfish for a lot of women. But you
Yes.
have to remember, if you find that selfish, remember you're actually being a role model for the other women generation. So show them that they need to care for themselves by taking care of yourself. And I think this is really the only way that we can reach optimal health, optimal energy levels, and optimal happiness. Is we really need to start prioritizing ourselves. And it's
Yes.
not easy, but that's one of the things that I would really recommend doing first.
Yes, and also when we take care of ourselves, we have more energy to help others. How do we try to help millions of people in this world sometimes, and we don't even care for our own well-being? It's hard. So the better you are, the longer you live, and a better impact you will make in this world. That's how I see it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like in a plane when they tell you, if the oxygen mask comes down, you have to put yours first
First,
before you help others. And I think it's the same. You're so right. Like, how can we care for others if we're feeling miserable, tired, if we're not healthy, if we have pain all over our body. So it's really key, but it's a very hard shift to make because this is not the way. We haven't necessarily had role models for that, right? And this is
yes,
not the way we've been raised. So it's our role to really change that, and show younger people that caring for yourself is it is a way to honor the body you were given and
exactly.
the life you're given. So it's key. Nothing can happen without caring for ourselves.
I couldn't agree more. So, any word of advice for women who want to start their own business?
Oh yeah, I would have a lot, but I think the number one is really follow your heart and do not go into an activity that you're not super super passionate about, because being your own boss is a lot of work, and you need to be really motivated by what you're doing every single day, right? I would say, ask yourself, would I do this job as a volunteer if I didn't need to make money? Would I still do that? And if the answer is yes, then I think it's a good choice for a business. If the answer is no, maybe think about it a little bit more. I know personally, like if I didn't need to make money to pay for college for my kids, I would still do some coaching as a volunteer just because it brings me happiness. It
Happiness.
just, I love it, right? So that would be my advice. Make sure that you're really passionate, because it is it is not easy. It takes a lot
Well,
of work.
yes, it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, anything else you'd like to share with us before I let you go today?
No, I think, that's about it. Again, yeah, take good care of yourself and love your body. Try to always treat yourself the way you would treat your best friend, because that's something we don't always do. And if we start there, we can do a great work at taking care of ourselves and feeling good.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Stella, for giving me the chance to learn about different things I didn't know about, especially when it comes to our body, the way we're supposed to be healthy, taking care of it. As women, we carry a lot, and sometimes we get lost and we don't have the time. We eat late, so we don't take care of ourselves, and sometimes we don't even have time to even take a 30 minutes walk outside because we're doing a lot of things. And I think that this conversation is a reminder that sometimes we need to slow down, we need to stop and question. For the next question is, how do we take care of ourselves, and if we need to, reach out for help, because at the end we can't do everything alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to spread the word. And yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. It was
You're
great to be
welcome.
here.